The General Scheme of Protected Disclosures Bill 2021 was published during the summer of 2021 in advance of the 17th of December 2021 deadline for implementation of the Directive EU 2019-1937 of the European Parliament and of the Council, the Whistleblowing Directive into Irish law. However, it appears that the 17th of December deadline was missed by over 2 months. At this stage, therefore, Minister, can you clarify to the House whether or not any fines have been issued by the Commission and set out the costs of any such fines to the taxpayer? And to be honest, I know plenty of people who have come to me within big organisations, the HSE, the Prison Service, the Department of Defence and many more, who would make your blood, it would make your blood boil with the stories they could tell you, and they could prove them. But to them, between the financial cost, the cost of maybe losing their jobs or their pensions, is not worth the risk of speaking out. The threats against their families, the threats against themselves, it makes it very dangerous for people to speak out. We all hear of the corruption that goes on in large companies, be it private or public, the corruption for some of the most powerful people in powerful jobs and what they can do to the man or woman who is trying to do a day's work. The damage that can be done is unsurmountable. Again, I could go into a lot of detail in relation to this, but to avoid any conflict for these people, I will stop here on this particular matter. It is important that the Minister, for the purpose of clarity, states whether the burden of proof will in fact be on the individual making the whistleblower or the organisation to prove. Hundreds of people who unleash the truth and speak out deserve to be mentioned here today. Their actions are patriotic and brave. Their actions and the actions of all those who speak out against wrongdoing do so in the public interest. Such actions should always be encouraged and not discouraged in any way. This bill will further extend the scope and the breadth of the protections afforded to individuals who make a protected disclosure in Ireland. That is to be welcomed. However, it is disappointing that it has taken the government so long to bring this bill before the House. At present, the burden of proof in cases of penalisation under the Act rests with the person alleging wrongdoing. The Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform previously indicated plans to reverse this burden of proof, meaning that the penalisation would be presumed to have occurred upon the making of a protected disclosure, unless the employer could prove otherwise. However, the bill makes no provision for this expected change. It is also important to state here today that if you are retaliated against for speaking out, you have the right to a remedy under Ireland's disclosure law, but it's not straightforward. In cases of reprisal that don't involve dismissal, the burden of proof is on you, the whistleblower, to demonstrate that the only reason this happened is because you spoke out. This is difficult to prove because an organisation can often find other reasons for behaviour that seems to be retaliatory, at least enough to cast a doubt. This burden of proof represents a significant obstacle. Whistleblowers rarely have the financial resources to compete with the corporate legal teams. It is the reason that many cases taken under the 2014 Act have not succeeded. And Minister, there is a lot of wrong. Look, it's no point in tarring everybody with the one brush. There's great work relationships out there with huge departments, but in some situations that's shocking. And I think quite often has been mentioned here today is the prison service. And it's time that, it's time I think that the cap is taken off here and the muzzle is taken off too, and that people that have been wronged need to be able to have a recourse and need to put it right. We've seen some, it took many years for some people to get, whistleblowers to get the state to sit up and listen. And I can well assure you that if some of the things that I hear myself, and I presume every other deputy here hears the same thing, are true and valid, which I believe they are, it would shock the nation to its core as to what's going on in some places. So, I hope this bill and this legislation here will help in some way to ease the burden on these people, that they can come forward. As Deputy McGrath said a while ago, some of these people are suicidal. And we, as a state, should strongly stand behind these people, give them their right to speak, give them their right to have the wrongs that have been done to them for decades put right. And recently spoke to a person at great length about the difficulties that he has had to go through, and it's astonishing to think that he has no safety mechanism that he can disclose what he's gone through in his life today.